During lockdown, I've had the pleasure of chatting to former teammate and fellow Olympian Jamie Baulch on his personal style and fashion. So if you want to know all about the blonde pineapple, don't go away. So Jamie, thank you for joining the Style Challenge by Pierre-Carr. It's so lovely to see you.
Thank you.
And I basically wanted to get you on board because you're renowned for your style image over the years in athletics. And I was just having a little think. We met in 1991, which was like nearly 30 years ago. When we both were competing for the first time for Great Britain. And you had blonde braids, and I think I used to call you, or the nickname then was Milli Vanilli. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, Milli Vanilli, man. Now you're bringing it back. Girl, I'm gonna miss you. I'm not gonna sing anymore.
And then you went on from there to become the Flying Pineapple because you went from braids to dreads.
That's right.
So can you please explain to me that whole season with your hair and your style?
Yeah, well, it's mad, really. When I was 17, my mum and dad are both white, right? So I grew up in a white sort of environment. And then so in 91, when you would have met me, I suddenly started meeting a lot of black athletes, a lot of people, and they were like really cool. You know, people like Darren Campbell, who went on to win an Olympic medal, and you know, you had Denise Lewis, obviously yourself, and all these types of athletes. Donna Fraser, you know, all the people I mentioned, I know you know well. So it was all these people, all the London people, and all that, and I thought, wow, this is great. I love these guys. Do you mean? And I started eating all the West Indian food. And because I'm mixed race myself, growing up in the white world, I thought, hang on, I've missed a bit of my culture here. So I think at 17, I just went all out. And I just thought, I'm going to be the wackiest guy you can sort of like meet out there. And I didn't purposely do it. It was not like a majorly conscious thing. I just felt like I'd missed out on a bit of culture or whatever. And the rest is history. I got my braids. In fact, I think I got my braids even before I went to the British Championships. So I was already kind of wacky in comparison to lots of other people, especially the London lot and the Birmingham lot and the Manchester crew. And, you know, I got accepted quite quickly for being this like crazy Welshman with the crazy style. And because everyone embraced it, I thought, oh, I'm going all out even more now. So it was something which wasn't intentional, but it was something which sort of organically happened. And I was experimenting with my own self at the time, and everyone seemed to like it. So the rest is history after that, you know? So, yeah, it was all good.
So would you say that the pop stars like Milli Vanilli and even Prince, I think you liked at the time, influenced what you wore and stuff?
Yeah, oh, well, yeah, Milli Vanilli. It was more Prince. I was a massive, as you remember, Michelle, I was a massive Prince fan from when I was about 14. So very got influenced by him. Jimi Hendrix, really got into that type of music when I was 14, 15, 16, before sort of I entered the British scene of athletics. And then, I, you know, meeting people like yourself, I think that just added fuel to the fire. Like, you know, I liked all the London lot. I liked the way they were. And as you remember, when we first met, I got really embraced by sort of like the London crew, as you want to call it. And yeah, they were really cool. And because I was so different, everyone, and you remember this well, you know, everyone was laughing. Who is this crazy Welshman? Like, you know. And because I was slightly different and very unique, I suppose, to a degree, I got embraced by it, and I just loved it, and it just went on from there, I suppose.
Well, I think also as well, do you think that all that dyeing is had attributed to your new hairstyle now, do you think?
Oh, hey, well, you know, it was inevitable, I think. I've never met my father, unfortunately, but I don't know if it was from doing my hair so so much. I think it was inevitable. You know, I think it was inevitable. I've met my real uncle, my blood uncle, and he looks exactly the same. He's got no hair either. So I think it was in the family. Put it that way.
And so you went on to get sponsored by Puma, who you are wearing at the moment. So you're still being looked after from them, I guess.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, you know, I'm 47 now, and I've just gone back to Puma literally over the last couple of months. I was chatting to Colin Jackson, who went on to win, got all the medals. Everyone knows Colin Jackson. I'm going to tell anyone who he is. He's been with Puma for life. And me and him had a conversation. He said, you know, Puma still want you, right? I was like, what do you mean they still want me? You know, and so yeah, I'm back in Puma. I'm in the gym. Okay, maybe not so much at the moment because of the coronavirus, but I'm training a lot. So it just suits me to be back with a brand which I was with when I was 17. So I feel I've come full circle, which is great.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And also tell me a little bit about who you were sponsored with off the track, because you're one of the few athletes that got actual designer label looking after you too.
Yeah, so I was really lucky. And this, you know, this all came about again. I think I was very different as an athlete. You know, I wasn't just a standard athlete on the track. I was very different looking, you know, with the blonde dreadlocks and the green eyes and the way I was, my accent, being Welsh accent, and I got really noticed. And so in 1997, Yves Saint Laurent, the clothing company, approached me and said, we'd like to sponsor you. And I was like, what, me? Why me, sort of thing? And so I was with them for 2 years, and I was just very fortunate to have a contract with them. It was only a handful of people, you know, in the UK, not even a handful. It was like less than that. I think it was 2 or 3 of us which got sponsored by them. And so I used to have this wardrobe of suits and shirts and all these type of, again, wacky clothes. And I'll never forget, Michelle, it was, I got a photo shoot, and I need to find the photographs. I've lost them. But yeah, I need to find them. But it was this photo shoot which we did. And I turned up, and they had this artistic director, and we shot a series of clothes in a sort of like a really high-end apartment, I suppose, in central London. And when I turned up, I wore my own clothes, thinking that Yves Saint Laurent were going to have clothes for me to wear on the day, which they did. But when I turned up, they were so impressed with what I wore, they said, we want you to wear that. And I was like, they didn't want me to change. And I just put on, I remember I had these really bright orange, sort of like, the corduroy trousers. They
weren't high-waisted, were they?
No, they weren't high-waisted. I weren't doing a Simon Cowell. So no, there were these corduroy trousers, bright orange, and I had this like brown Yves Saint Laurent tracksuit top, which had bright orange sleeves. So it sort of matched, and I had these Puma shoes. And the artistic guy was from Paris, and he said, "Oh, Jamie, you're fabulous. And he just made me just wear the clothes I wore. So I felt kind of impressed that, you know, this guy from Yves Saint Laurent flew all the way from Paris, and he didn't have to change me. So I was kind of chuffed with that.
Well, did you like that? You're going to have to tune in next week for part 2 of Jamie's style and fashion, and also his style challenge that I set him to. But in the meantime, why not download your free Spring Summer 20 trends on the link. Also, please like, share and subscribe. Let everyone know that I'm here. Till then, take care.